For all the past years that liminal spaces have been discussed on the internet, I have been enamored by the concept while simultaneously being a little bit baffled by the effectiveness at inciting fear and fascination despite what these spaces often are. Office buildings, living rooms, airport lounges. These are not scary places or even remarkable places in and of themselves. They're empty when they're not meant to be. That's kind of scary. Like maybe it's some sort of sense of anticipation that someone will pop up eventually. But to be honest, what I find least interesting about these liminal spaces, which I suppose goes for a lot of horror, is that once you see the creature, it's not scary anymore. In fact, the fact that there is a creature is the part that I don't like about a lot of these liminal space stories. The backrooms in particular, with their wireframe men that has become a sort of mascot for the series. And I was very happy to see that in the Backrooms movie, it didn't show up. The still lifes, those weird couch stuffing filled creatures with sort of blurry faces, were like a way more interesting creature than any wireframe men could ever be. The strength of liminal space horror lay not in the creatures you can see, but instead in the anticipation of what may be out there, in the tension of rounding the corner, in the thought of what lay beyond what you can see and can only imagine. Whether the picture is finite or infinite, that hollow feeling in your chest, that dread is always there when watching something or seeing a picture that is liminal, right? But I think talking about liminal spaces as just a setting for horror isn't the full story. I think the discussion around these images is entirely incomplete without bringing up the myriad times that people will be on these message boards describing these images not just as scary, but as comfortable, cozy, and nostalgic. Even the decidedly horror-based Backrooms film has its protagonist describe the place as something remembering itself over and over. Clark's entire arc sees him embracing this place, the Backrooms, and rejecting progress and self-improvement until he's devoured by this sort of living symbol of his own spiteful, rage-filled personality, the asshole that other people or the Backrooms or whatever, the collective consciousness remembers him as. That's not to mention the aesthetics most of these images and videos have. You have the dead malls built in the 80s and the 90s, the old school closed concept office spaces, the VHS recordings, or even the PS1 style graphics that the earlier Backrooms installments presumably embraced out of practical necessity. I came out of the Backrooms movie in awe of what I'd seen, while simultaneously wondering what more could be done with this strange setting, but also with this ephemeral feeling that seems to be at the heart of today's zeitgeist. If you take that fear of the unknown, the dangerous nostalgia, and that hollow dread in your chest, what more can you channel it into but horror? Are liminal spaces just a fad, or can they be in service of a broader movement in art, like surrealism once was, like romanticism once was? If you think about it, what other setting is so closely tied to a genre? Like, it would be like if all movies that contained a supermarket were comedies. You know what I mean? The point is, I had this thought, and then a week later, I remembered I already read a book that does exactly what I'm asking for. And I fucking love this book. I don't know how I forgot about it, but here we are. Piranesi is about a man who lives inside a liminal space and doesn't know any kind of life outside of it. Through his journal entries, we read about this place he calls the house. A complex of sprawling halls, hallways, vestibules, and antechambers. All words that I learned through this book. They all contain marble statues of people and animals in various poses, holding items that tell stories through the way they're presented. All of it is surrounded by a potentially endless ocean whose tides periodically sweep through the lower halls of the house. But this is not a horror story. Piranesi, the eponymous perspective character, has a way of describing the house with such reference that it's hard not to get swept up in his love for the place. The first chapter of the story ends just as the last one does, with the quote, "The beauty of the house is immeasurable, its kindness infinite." And you feel that. With every new room entered, with every statue meticulously described, Piranesi makes offerings and prays at statues, and he has moved the bones of the dead to higher levels to ensure they stay dry and remembered. Yeah, Piranesi is not alone, sort of. There are fish and crabs and there's birds, with the most prominent being an albatross, whose arrival is so significant to Piranesi that he feels the need to name an entire year of his journals after this albatross. Piranesi's a real sweetie. And then there's the dead people as well. There's 13 bodies he's encountered in the years since he's lived in the house. Like, for example, the fish leather man, the biscuit box man, and the folded up child, named after how Piranesi first found them. Only one living person ever visits him, known only to Piranesi as the Other. Though Piranesi doesn't catch on as fast as the reader does, the Other is a visitor from Earth. He wears suits. He talks about regular Earth things. He even named Piranesi after an artist from the 18th century known for his fantastical architectural drawings. Look them up. They're stunning. This Other won't go too deep into the house and has recruited Piranesi to help find something he calls the great and secret knowledge. I don't want to spoil the whole story, but it's safe to say that everything a liminal horror like The Backrooms does, Piranesi flips on its head. You take the fear of the unknown and you turn it into fascination. I mean, I want to know what's around every corner in Piranesi's house. You take away the monsters and you add this sort of living ecosystem, this flora and fauna, the fucking albatrosses. And he worships them. He looks towards the birds and tries to find some sort of meaning in what their flight patterns mean, which is fascinating to me. A house, much like The Backrooms, becomes a metaphor. It becomes a materialized collective consciousness. But it's not a hellish, smelly, yellow office building, but instead it's an idealized Greco-Roman temple with statues of gorillas and women holding beehives while a bee crawls on their marble eye, and it's cool. It's just fucking cool. Reading Piranesi, I felt that same hollow feeling I get when I watch Backrooms, right? Or when I play Portal, or when I play the Stanley Parable, or The Beginner's Guide. These are games that are not horror, but horror adjacent in their feeling. I mean, when I walk through the Stanley Parable office, or the strange, surreal landscapes that The Beginner's Guide presents you with, I feel a little bit scared. Like something's gonna show up, like something's gonna pop out of a corner. The places feel fake and deliberate and made for me, but also completely alien to me, right? And that's that hollow feeling that I'm talking about. And Piranesi gives you that feeling too, except reversed. It's not fear, it's longing. I want to be in the house. I want to wander endlessly through its marble hallways, its vestibules. I want to swim in its endless oceans. I do. To me, liminal spaces are kind of like dreams in that way. And that might be because I, played a lot of games as a kid and my subconscious has just picked up on that. But I don't know. Like, have you ever had a dream? Have you ever dreamed that you did, but you didn't know? And have you ever had a dream that felt as real as being awake? And when you woke up, you kind of wanted to just go back to sleep again to see what the rest of that dream was about, at least for a bit. That's what Piranesi was like for me. It was like a memory of a place that I've never really been to. I feel like The Backrooms are similar to that, with their mostly 90s-based aesthetics, the American homes and living rooms that they evoke, the offices, I mean, I'm a 2000s kid, right? I am not American. I've never worked a day of my life in an office, at least not one like that. So why do the back rooms still work for me? I don't know. I really don't know. At the same time, I do swim a lot, and I swam a lot as a kid. I do dream frequently of impossible swimming pools. So I've always found that the second level, for lack of a better word, that is like called the pool rooms, that one really resonates with me. But it's almost calming. It's almost a sort of chill environment. I think that's what liminality as a concept can provide beyond horror. It's that hollow feeling in my chest that can be harnessed as terror, but also as longing. It can be nostalgia for a place I've never known. It can be the complex, but it can also be, it can be the house. It can be the house. Or you just put a PNG of Obama into Gary's mod and you make it scream at you and chase you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I have no idea what I'm doing, and this is a bit of an experiment. I just figured, there's not enough white, male-shaped people talking about the backrooms. So, you're welcome.